Hi everyone. This is the live video. I don't know if anyone is here. Yes, Armida. Okay, so can you please let me know if you're actually working out? Hi Maria. Oh, I'm so excited to see you guys here. So can you guys hear me well? Just to make sure before we start with the live stream. Just maybe put yes or something in the chat. Okay, let me see here. Hi Jose. Welcome. Can anyone hear me? Hi, okay, perfect. Thank you, Maria. Okay, so it's good. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm so happy to see you all here. I'm so happy. So welcome to the first ever live Q&A video in our channel. We have had some live videos, and I see some people that have been in the chat that in the live videos before, and some videos, but we've never had a live Q&A. So it's just so exciting to do this. Actually, in Berlin, it's raining right now. How is the weather in your city? I can tell you that in Berlin it's raining, so this is the perfect day to just have some chat with you and just have some moment together. I'm super excited to see you here. Hi, everyone. Yes, okay. So I have my tea ready. So if you guys have a tea or a coffee, just get one so we can talk about plants and just get your questions ready. So I wanted to show you actually the way that this video is going to work is that first I asked you guys in Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to just send some questions about plants or about me or whatever you want to know about, like my plant journey or plants in general. And thank you so much to everyone who sent the questions to me. And so we're going to go through those questions first. But of course, if you have a question and you couldn't send the question beforehand, you can just add it to the chat. And then Jan, who is right here, I'm going to show you right there. He's going to actually collect the questions in the chat. So we will actually, maybe at the end, we can just look at the questions and get to as many as we can. So yes, so let's start with the video. I'm just saying, oh yes, from Canada. Actually, look, this cup is actually from Canada. It says A. Okay, anyway, so let's start with the video and the questions. I'm going to go to the first question here. So the first question is from AG, and it actually says, how, why, and when did you start your plant journey? So this is a very good question, guys, because my plant journey started not so long ago, actually. I started collecting plants, I think about 1.5 years ago, something like this. And I can tell you, I would love to know your story too. So if you can share or you would like to share your story, just put it in the chat so we can also make a dialogue, right? But anyways, because I would like to see how you started too. But for me, actually, it was because during those times, I was feeling a little bit lost in my life. And I was just not happy with many things that I was doing. So I was just really, really sad in many areas of my life. And I think when I started thinking about it, I think it was because I was doing things that were like good on paper, like they sounded good on paper. And I was trying to please many people around me, which, I mean, it was not that the people were asking me to please them, but it was more me. Like I wanted to make other people happy. And I was asking myself, okay, what do I want? So then I found myself like touching many bottoms in my life and like touching getting to my bottom. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, like I was just like not feeling well with what I was doing. I was not feeling fulfilled. And so I decided to just change many things in my life. I moved out of my apartment. I left my previous job, which was a very good job, but I was just not happy with what I was doing. But one constant thing was always there, which was to bring more nature to my home and just try this idea of bringing more plants in my house. And I was also thinking about documenting this and actually show it to you guys on YouTube, just like to anyone who was interested in bringing plants, just like from someone that didn't know so much about it, just how it was, and like just to share that journey with you. And this is how actually plants and Lucia and how plants became part of my life, actually. And but you know what? It was actually not super like smooth. There were some confusing times. And I remember, I think I've said this story before in this channel, but there was one day that I was in my parents' house and I was super confused and I was not sure if I wanted to do something, like, okay, am I doing this right? Because there were so many unknowns. Like, should I do this channel on plants? Like, what am I doing? And I got this book. I think I showed you before, and I have it here my list. This one here is called Un Jardín Dentro de Casa. And basically, this book is from my grandmother. So I actually started crying because she actually used to have many plants in her house. And I just remember that I actually had forgotten. And I felt, because that's when I was actually questioning this whole journey, and I felt that she was talking to me. So it's very close to my heart, and I'm so happy to share this with you because she's part of our community. And this is how everything started. And actually, now that I see my plants growing, it's just so special to me and to my heart, because it's like I decided to change things in my life, and this is when plants became part of my life. And I think because of these decisions that I made in these very difficult times, I feel that I'm growing more, that I'm happier, and then I can see my plants also growing and they're happy. So it's like a journey that we are sharing together, you know? So yeah, let me know how you started your journey with plants and how you actually came together with the plants, how you started bringing plants home, and how it has been for you. And yeah, actually, I'm gonna check in the chat because okay, so I have some. Okay, so let's just. I'll keep checking in the chat, but I would love to know your story. So if you would like to share, yeah, I'm gonna keep checking throughout the video and see if anyone shares their story. So I'm gonna put this back in its place, and let's get to question number 2. So I have the questions actually saved here. So we have them, yeah, here. So this question is from Jay. Thank you, Jay, for your question. So it says, when shopping for plants, do you usually buy small, medium, or large? Also, what plants do you gravitate most towards? Low, medium, high lighting, high humidity, succulents, etc. So this is a great question because I've been learning how to pick my plants. And I think, okay, first of all, the first question, because these are 2 questions. So if I buy small or medium or large, I tend to really gravitate towards small plants. And I have 3 reasons for this. The first one is, and I think is the most important one, is that I love to see them grow. And I think when you buy a small plant and then you see the new growth and then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like actually creating a relationship with her. You're actually building a relationship, and then you're getting to know her and like to see what she likes and what she doesn't like. And I think it's so cool to buy them when they're small and then actually see them grow, you know? So yeah, actually, when I buy my plants, this is the thing that I actually look forward to see them grow, you know? And then, so that would be my first and most important reason why I really love to buy small plants. The second one is actually cost. So if you look at big plants and small plants, smaller plants tend to be cheaper. Whereas if you already buy a really grown plant, is really, it can be actually 50 euros or 100 euros, or yeah, whatever you are, it can be more expensive. So I think it's a better investment to buy a smaller plant and then create a relationship with them and see them grow and have that experience, you know, because you also get the experience with that. And the third reason is for safety. Because, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you see set plant here. We actually got it from a friend. It's so special to us, but it's such a big plant. And this plant was actually in the other side of Berlin when we got it. So to carry it in the subway, I mean, the set plant, you may know, is actually super adaptable, so it was okay. But sometimes when you have a very big plant, it actually can be more shocking to the plant because it's harder to transport it to your home. So I think with a smaller plant, you can actually just get it, and it's super easy to just transport from one place to another. So it's not as shocking to the plant, and also it's less likely that you're gonna damage it. So yeah, I tend to like smaller plants better than bigger plants when I'm buying. So second question from Jay is, what plants do I gravitate most toward? So this is low, medium, high lighting, or high humidity, or succulents, or tropical plants. So I think for me, it's more about what I can provide to my plant. So for example, in this apartment, we have a south-facing window, so we have lots of light. So because of this, I tend to gravitate to succulents or high light loving plants. This is because I know that they will be happy. If I buy plants that like lower light or something like this, or like higher humidity, and I cannot provide that for them, maybe it's not the best plant to get, because you want to get a plant that is going to be happy at your house. So you have to see what, or at least in my opinion or in my experience, I think is better when I buy plants that I know that will be happy in our home because of what we can provide to them. And yeah, so for example, this room right here is like a west, like I think it's northwest window. So we don't get so much sunlight. We actually get more afternoon sunlight. But in the day, we don't get so much sunlight. So then we have plants that don't like sunlight so much. We have the pothos, we have the setset plant, and other plants. I have the calatheas now here. And also, I love to put the calatheas here because in the night it gets dry. The air is actually drier. So now we have a humidifier for the calatheas, but it's also good for us. So I think that's how I tend to think when I look at plants. I look at how they're going to be in the place where we live. But yeah, so what about you guys? Do you prefer some plants other than others? And why do you actually look for plants like these? So yeah, let's get to number 3. So let me see, I have them here. Yes. So question number 3 is from Miyuki Chan. Thank you so much, Miyuki. So it says, hello, Lucia. Considering you're a plant expert, I'd like to ask you if keeping horticulture as a major subject in my degree is a good idea. Well, first of all, thank you so much for considering me a plant expert. I can tell you, I don't consider myself a plant expert because I'm still learning. And as I told you guys, I started a year and a half ago, but I think I keep learning. And yeah, so I even learned from you guys. So, but thank you. That's a very good compliment. But anyway, so what I can tell you is, as I didn't study horticulture or botany or anything like this, I actually studied university history. So that's another one of my passions. But one advice that I can give you is that, at least in my experience, I liked many fields. So I liked architecture, I liked history, I like environmental studies. Now I like plants. It's like I'm a person that likes many, many things. And I used to be very confused. Sometimes I still feel confused, like on where to go or what path to take. But it actually comes to the first question, which is find what feels good. So for me, I try to find what feels good. So when I feel fulfilled, I feel happy, and I want to learn more about something, then I'm like, you know what? I feel it in my gut, and then I go for it. And I think it has worked well, because I think that when you are happy and you feel fulfilled, you find that light that is within you with that topic or field that you are studying. And then you can actually share that light with people around you, and you can actually do more with that path that you've chosen. So I think that would be my advice based on my experience. So if you find horticulture really interesting, which, yeah, of course, like right now I don't know so much, but the more I learn about my plants, the more books I want to read about like horticulture and botany. So I find it really interesting, but I think it's more about, do you really like it? And if it really fulfills you and you're happy with it, I think it's the path to go. But you have to look within, I think. At least in my experience, that's what helped me and has helped me in my life. But yeah, so, but thank you for your question. Actually, I think it's a very good question. A very good life question too. Okay, so let's look at the next question. This question is from Plant Nerds. I love that nickname, by the way. I think it's from Instagram, this one. So it said, what was your first houseplant purchase and why that specific houseplant? So yes, I have props for this question. So we have 2 houseplants that we bought first. The first one is this one, the Anthurium. So I love this plant because actually it has hard leaves. It's beautiful. And also it flowers. And when it flowers, it actually lasts like for a long time. It's a beautiful plant. This plant is called the flamingo flower because the flowers look like a flamingo as well. Oh, I think I was blocking the microphone. Anyways, this one was one of the first ones that we bought. And then we also bought, this is the bunny ears cactus, and do not touch it because it has a lot of spikes and it's very annoying, you guys. But yeah, this is a beautiful plant as well. It's a cactus. And the reason why we bought these two plants is because in the store they told us that they're very easy to take care for. And we were just starting with plants, so we were like, you know what? Yeah, let's get those ones. But because we were beginners and we were just starting, I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna give it water, and that should be it. But of course, I learned my lesson. So with this one specifically, it needs lots of bright sunlight. When we got, we used to live in an apartment that didn't get so much sunlight. Actually, it was a very dark apartment. So what happened was that these ones are new growth. Actually, I can show you. It has a new growth here. It's coming out. But what happened was that many small branches, like really thin arms, were growing actually. And then I thought that these were actually new growths, but actually, yeah, it was new growth, but it was not healthy growth because what was happening is that this cactus was trying to get to the sunlight. So they grow very, very thin arms, and then they just try to get to the sunlight because they're not getting enough sunlight. So basically, that's how it was growing. So then I just cut it. Right now, we decided to cut the arms just because now we understood that the plant actually needs lots of sunlight. So we put it in there with the south-facing window. And this is so cool because actually these ones are actually new growth. So, and this actually new growth from this year. So it's growing really quickly. And yeah, so this is what I mean. When you actually find out what your plant really likes, it's actually a really cool feeling, and actually to see how they actually like it. So yeah. Okay, so let's look at. I'm just gonna put it back. This live video, you guys. Everything is real. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So this one was from Facebook, I think, and it's from one person that is called Maria Angelia Ayala Ramos. So it says, how often do we need to change the soil for our plants? Guys, these questions are really good, actually. So again, I think, at least in my experience, I like to see the plant. I like to observe what's good for the plant. In general, what it is recommended is that we repot our plants every year in the growing season, and especially in the beginning of the growing season. So for most of the plants, this means maybe the beginning of spring. But of course, I think that the most important is that we actually look at our plants and observe how they're growing, and then how the soil is in the pot. So this also depends on how many times we water the plant. So there is a process called, or like a thing that happens in the soil that is called caking. And basically what happens is that when we water the soil, and then it dries, and then we water again, and it dries, and then we water again, and then it dries, then the soil starts compressing. And then when this happens, the roots cannot grow so much. And then what happens is that because it's so compressed, the water goes like this, like around the soil, and then to the pot like this. So it doesn't go to the roots. So then this means that we need new soil, right? Because we need new nutrients, and also the soil is like super compressed. So in order to prevent this, generally it's better to change the soil or repot our plants in the beginning of the growing season. But of course, if we don't water our plants so much, for example, in the case of the succulents, or your plant is not growing super quickly, then they may not need yearly repotting. So I think this is a general rule, but we need to observe our plant. And I think that's great because then you create a very special relationship with your plant when you observe it, when you observe the soil, and things like this. But yeah, in general, I would say that maybe every year we just have to check the soil just to make sure that it is okay, that it is not compressed, and that the plant actually has space to grow. So yes. Okay, so let's look at the next question. Yes, so this one is also again about soil. So it says, how do you store leftover soil? I keep mine in a painter's bucket and I get mold and gnats, so fungus gnats. Any ideas? Yes. Okay, I can tell you, I know that fungus gnats are super annoying. And yeah, of course, this is good to prevent. So the way that we do it, and I was reading about it too, because it has been working for us, but I wanted to make sure that this is actually a good advice. So the way that it is recommended, and we've been doing it and it works, is that you leave the soil in a bag that is sealed. So actually some of the soil that you already buy in the stores is already a sealable bag. So you can actually seal it. And then you can put this bag in a container that is also sealed. So you prevent like fungus gnats to actually lay eggs in the soil. Also, this place should be dry because this prevents fungus in the soil. Now, if you actually get fungus gnats or larvae or mold in the soil, there is a way that you can clean your soil before you use it for your plants. So I actually found this way from a very good YouTuber. It's called Harley G. Maybe you know her. She's amazing. And the way that she cleans her soil is super easy. So the way that she does it is she uses actually this one, hydrogen peroxide. So the way that we can do it is we put 1 part hydrogen peroxide and 1 part water, and then you soak the soil in the solution. Then you can let it dry. So you should have the soil in a container that has drainage holes. Then you let the water drain and you let the soil dry. So this is going to be maybe a day or two. And then you can use the soil for your plants. And you're going to make sure that there is no fungus gnats or mold. So yeah, I think this is a very good solution. But of course, to prevent it, you just use a sealed bag and then put it in a sealed container in a dry place. But this is also a good solution in case you actually have fungus gnats or mold in the soil before you use your plants. Okay. Oh, before you use the soil for your plants. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Let me just take some tea to come and relax. It's really good, guys. Okay, so let's look at the next question here. So actually I started getting questions also on specific plants. So I wanted to tell you, if you would like me to do a video on a specific plant, I would love it if you actually can put a comment in the chat or a comment below, and I will be making sure to read all of these comments and all these messages just to make sure that I add these plants to the list of videos, and then we can actually make a video or a care video for you guys. I think that would be really useful. But anyways, yeah, so this question is from Kevin Rivadeneira. And basically says, okay, so it says, I have a Parodia leninquasi, and it's starting to tilt to one side. Maybe I should burrow it deeper into the pot. Okay, so what I would say here is, first I would like to see your plant just to make sure where it is in the pot. So what I tend to do in the channel is that if someone has a question like that about plants, you can just follow me on Instagram and send a picture there. So then we can look at it together. You can send me a DM, for example, and then we can see how to figure it out together. The one advice that I could give you is, I have a plant here. So we have the aloe vera. And of course, as you know, the aloe vera grows super quickly and super big. So this one was also tilting to the side. And what we did is that we put a stick here and we just attach it to the stick. So this way, actually, it gets support and it's not tilting so much to the side. And it has worked for us. So maybe that can also work for your plant. But yeah, I tend to do this when I see that my plants are tilting to the side. Of course, you can put them a little bit like down in the soil, but I think this is also an extra support that really helps the plants. So yeah, I hope this is useful. Let's see. And the last question that someone sent beforehand, tips on caring for Maranta prayer plant. Okay, I had to include this question because it's like you read my mind. Actually, this week I was recording a video on the Maranta prayer plant, and it's actually coming out next Tuesday. So when I saw this question, I was like, wow, it's like we kind of like talk to each other. I don't know. So the Maranta prayer plant is not a super difficult plant. It's actually very close to the Calathea, like the Calathea rufibarba, for example. So they need a lot of humidity and not so much sunlight. And yeah, so I would recommend that you do maybe low light or indirect sunlight, not direct sunlight, because that's going to burn the leaves. And I always clean the leaves of this plant so that prevents bugs or pests or things like this. So those are some tips that I can give you. But on Tuesday, we'll have the full care video for this plant. So it's a special for you, Steph Yvette. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy it on Tuesday. And yeah, so now I'm gonna look at the chat now. Oh, okay. So I saw. Okay, Jan, you're showing me some of the questions that you guys saw. So let me see here. I have one from. Let me just put it here. Yes. So how do you get rid of fungus gnats? Guys, fungus gnats, I know they're super, super, super annoying. So thank you for this question. I know that we're actually dealing with some right now, but there are different ways that you can prevent fungus gnats, and then there are different ways that you can get rid of them. So the fungus gnats, most of them, like most of their lives, are actually in the soil. So if you want to get rid of them and like in a very efficient way, it's actually to target the soil. So there are different ways to prevent them, first of all, and I think it has really helped me in these ways. The first thing is that you do that with the watering. So the watering is very important. Fungus gnats, they like to put their eggs in very moist soil. So if you're watering your plants and you're making the soil really wet and not letting it dry in between waterings, for the plants that are okay to let it dry in between waterings, which is many of them, then they're going to be really happy to lay their eggs there. So then we have to be very careful with that. One way to prevent overwatering is that we put the plant in a pot with drainage holes. So this way the water doesn't stay in the pot and the soil is moist but not wet. Another way to prevent them that has been really useful for me is actually putting sand on top of the soil. So when you have the soil and then you put a layer of sand on top, this sand actually dries up quicker than the soil. And also the sand doesn't have organic matter, so the larva cannot feed from it, right, from the sand. So fungus gnats don't like to put their eggs in the sand. So when you put that layer of sand in your plants, like on the top of the plant, on the top of the potting mix, that prevents the fungus gnats from laying their eggs there. So these are two things that are really good for that. Now, one solution that is really good to get rid of the fungus gnats in the soil and the larva is actually a product that is called mosquito bites or mosquito bits, I think. So you can actually combine this in the water, like you can put it in the water when you water your plants. This is not gonna damage your plant because it's actually organic. I think it's like an organic bacteria or something like this, and the larva feeds on it. But actually, this actually kills the larva. So that can also help. And another way, if you cannot find the mosquito bits, then you can also use neem oil. Neem oil is also good. But I think the best way is either the mosquito bits or trying to prevent overwatering your soil, because the fungus gnats really don't like when it is moist. And the second thing, which was the sand on top, I think that's also a very good way to prevent them. So yeah, and also I have a video on this. So I think I'm gonna put it in the description below so you guys can find it. I have more tips there, and hopefully that's gonna be useful. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have. So I just saw a very beautiful comment here that I'm gonna share with you guys because that's why I love this community, because we can actually share our experiences with plants right here. So it says, my grandmother has a 65-year-old Christmas cactus, and she gave me one of the propagated babies of the plant about 4 years ago. I've loved her, and this year she put out flowers. I think there's more, right? Maybe I need more plants, right? She said. Sorry, I think I didn't get. Yeah, I needed more plants, she said. Hannah, okay, thank you so much for sharing this. That's why I love this community, because these stories really made me smile, because I think plants really go through generations. Like, for example, I didn't even know that my grandmother was so into plants, but now that I'm learning so much about them, sometimes my mom tells me, oh, yeah, your grandmother used to do this. Oh, your grandmother used to do this. And for example, when I hear these stories that you got a plant from a friend or you got it from your grandmother, it's like that love that she put there. Now it's with you. And that is beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's super beautiful. And yeah, it's really nice. So let's see. Hmm. So let me see what others. So I'm going to put this one as well. Okay. So this one is from Armida Miranda Riestra. Armida, I'm so happy you're in this video. Thank you so much for always being present. It's really nice. I think it's so cool that through this community, even though we don't know each other in person, I think you start making friends, and it's so nice to see some of the same names and just like have conversations like this with you guys. So yeah, so let me see the question. It says, I presume you and Jan have a degree, and I'm curious if it's not on biology or ecology or something related. Yes, okay, so that's a great question. So actually, my degree is not biology or ecology related, it's actually on history. So I studied history in university, and I started with plants just because it just it called me from my heart, I think. And now I'm reading a lot and learning a lot about it. In university, I also did some courses on environmental studies, and I remember that I used to love these. But yes, now in terms of Jan, yes, he does. He studied actually geography, and I can tell you actually with Jan, I've learned so much about like nature and the outdoors because he loves the mountains and the trees. So, and also he loves maps. So every time that we go hiking and things like that, he's always like looking at the maps and seeing, for example, oh yeah, let's look at this lake, or let's look at, like, for example, in this mountain that we might find some trees or some green or something like this. So it's really interesting. But yeah, so how about you guys? Do you have any degrees on like nature, like natural sciences or biology or anything like this? And if you do, you can also share your experience with us, because I think it's such a cool, now that I know more about it, like I don't know so much, but now that I'm learning more about nature, I think it's such a cool degree to have, or like just such a cool field to just learn, learn from it. So yeah, I would love to know about that. So let's see. I'm just gonna go to the chat. Okay, so I just saw one comment from, I think it's a guy named Seul. So yes, I just wanted to tell you hello. I hope that work is doing well. Sorry, that is going well, and thank you for being here. So guys, thank you so much. I'm just looking at the chat right now. Wow, so nice to see you all. So oh my God, I just see that everyone is talking in the chat, and I love that. It's such a beautiful community. So I'm so happy that you guys could come here. And yeah, actually, if you would like to have more of these Q&As, just let me know. And I was actually thinking about an idea, and I wanted to wait till the end for you to tell me what you think. So I was trying this software out for a live videos and live Q&As and things like this. But I was thinking that maybe we could do a live video, maybe every month. And this live video would be maybe in the form of a class, or like not a class, but for example, if I report a plant, maybe I can tell you, okay, so this day I'm going to be reporting this plant, and I'm going to be using this kind of materials. And then we can just go through it together, like live reporting together. So you guys can prepare for that video. And then maybe if you want to report a plant together, and if you have any questions, then we can just talk about it together and do it together at the same time. So if you would like that and you would like this kind of idea to do together, let me know in the chat. And oh, I just saw that Armida studied biomedical science. That is amazing, actually. Okay, yeah, so If you guys would like to do that, so we can just get together maybe once a month in a live video and just do some plant related activities together. And if you have any questions, you can just put it on the chat. And yeah, so let me know what you think. And yes, so I think we're going to be closing up soon. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for chatting, for all of your messages. And I will see you in the next video. Okay? Ciao, my friends. Mwah. Sorry. Bye.